And now, the fifth and final round of Combat Sports Live.
Thank you, Thomas McHugh. Round number 5. We're rolling into our championship round. We've been having a lot of fun today. Just got off the phone with Pat Barry and got to talk about his favorite video games and his favorite movies and how much of a big fan he is of the guy that he's fighting tonight. And that's pretty refreshing in a sport that is typically, I'm going to knock him out, whatever. I mean, the guy just pretty much went on and on about how much he loves and respects his opponent. So that was a fun interview.
It's refreshingly honest.
It's a sport.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. So let's do it really quickly. And I wanted to. We've got the privilege of having Caleb McAllister in the studio with us today, and we wanted to talk to him about his pro fight, his last pro fight, what he's got on the horizon. But before we do that, let's do our picks. And this week I'm just gonna focus on 3 fights because those seem to be the 3 fights everybody's talking about. With this card being a little bit kind of shaken up with the Tito absence. So again, we talked about it in round number 1. I think it's pretty much unanimous for Franklin. But so let's talk about fight number 2, Caleb. Pat Barry versus Cro Cop. Now let's make it a little interesting. Who wins and how do they win?
I'm going with Pat Barry, and I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say he knocks him out. On the one hand, Mirko has the experience, still has the intimidation factor, kind of like when St. Pierre fought Matt Hughes the first time. He was fighting his idol, and the nerves got to him a little bit. I still think Pat Barry is going to come out. He's been hungrier. He's looked sharper. I think, Mirko's on a downhill slide, and Pat Barry's still going through the roof, so I'm going with Pat Barry by knockout.
Pat Barry by knockout. Charles, what do you think?
Jeremy, it pains me to agree with you this week because I know you're going to pick Pat Barry. And I know it's going to be on Facebook that I followed you because my picks have just been in the toilet. I'm sure there's money lost in Vegas on my picks and somebody's looking for me. But I think Pat Barry wins. I think it's simple. I think it's the athleticism. I think in this scenario, student becomes teacher and you flip the page and there's a new Muay Thai powerhouse standing in front of you.
Absolutely, and of course, anybody that knows me, it's kind of funny because everybody knows that I'm a big GSP fan. But if you hang out with me at all, I'm always you gotta watch this guy Pat Barry, and I'm a Pat Barry fan for more reasons than just his fight game. I think the guy's hilarious. He's funny. I think he's got incredible marketing ability because he's like, to me, he's like the Rock personality of the UFC. If you get to know him at all, he's just
definitely larger than life.
Can you smell what the Rock's cooking?
He's like a walking, talking video game, and he's a lot of great fun, and he's an incredible fighter. I'm gonna of course call it with Pat Barry, but I also I think that this is going to be a fight that goes to decision. These two guys are not going to go to the ground, and I think their incredible striking skills are going to probably negate one knocking the other out. I think that they're both too good to be knocked out at this point, even though it happened to Cro Cop, and it's happened to Pat Barry too. He got caught in a guillotine when he fought Timothy Hague, but. A lot of things could happen, but I think that these guys are going to have so much respect for each other that it's going to be a trading war for 3 rounds. And at the end of it, at the end of it, Pat Barry comes out the winner. So that's how I'm calling that one. And let's talk about fight number 3. Excuse me, Ben Rothwell versus Gilbert Yvel. Caleb, what do you think?
It's an interesting matchup as well. Definitely competitive. Neither one of those guys looked quite up to snuff in their last performances, not performing as well as they usually do. I'm going to go with Gilbert Yvel just because I think he's faster, more explosive. I think he's going to be able to catch Rothwell before Rothwell catches him. If it goes to the ground, definitely giving the edge to Rothwell. Stay heavy and pound him out. But I think I'm going to go with Yvel on that one.
Yvel for Caleb. Charles, what do you think? Just flip a coin, right?
Flip a coin. I want to talk about Caleb. You pick your pick, and let's go.
Ben Rothwell is the way I think it's going to go. I think his IFL career and what he was done in the UFC has kind of negated what he's capable of. So Ben Rothwell on that one. And moving on here with Caleb McAllister, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that's going on with your career. Of course, you've made the transition from local amateur champion in the 155-pound class, EFC champion in 155. You went 7 fights, 5-2 as an amateur,
yep.
and decided to make the transition to professional fighting last month at the UWC up in Fairfax. Certainly, I would say, and I've been involved with fighters that have made that transition. Charles, you have as well, and it's difficult to say the least. And in a show of that magnitude, it can probably enhance things. How did that experience? What did you learn from that experience?
Overall, it was a great experience. It was a great show, great opponent, very competitive fight. For those of you that saw it, it was a very competitive fight, and a lot of what I wanted to accomplish was exactly happened exactly the way I wanted it to. And as most of you probably know, I got caught towards the end of the fight in an armbar inside a triangle. And that just showed my opponent's experience, honestly. He's been doing this for 10 more years than I have. And he was finally able to get his game going. But up until that point, I was very happy with being able to implement my own game plan.
Well, Caleb, and I know you're a very humble warrior, so I watched the fight, and I watched it with your coach. And, you were dominating the flow of the fight. You were outstriking them. You were doing a great job of controlling it, and I was super impressed by it. And I know I know that you'll take whatever mistake that was made, you'll take away from it the lesson that was learned. And
don't make that mistake again.
But I want everybody to know that if you didn't get to see the fight, please go out there and check it out. I'm sure it's going to be available at UWC's website.
Yeah,
Caleb was handling this fight, doing a great job. And hey, when you're young and in the game, you make a mistake.
Exactly.
I know
got to give Carper credit. I mean,
if there's anybody that's going to learn from it, I can tell you it's Caleb, because he's a warrior.
Well, he definitely did Lynchburg proud. Lynchburg is proud of you, and I'm sure that you've got a fight coming up.
Yep, in July.
In July. Which promotion is that in?
That's the CFP coming up in July, Carolina Fight Promotion, down either in Myrtle Beach or in Camp Lejeune, I believe it is. They're running a couple of shows, and they're not sure which one I'm going to be performing on, but one or the other.
When we were talking between the break, you were saying they were still making matches in the fight card, and I think the CFP is actually running two fights on the same night.
Yeah.
One at Camp Lejeune and one at
a little bit unusual to do it that way, but we're still kind of getting the fight card set and seeing which one I wind up getting put on. But
my vote's for Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, you
and me both.
I'm gonna push for Myrtle Beach as well. I'll talk to your coach.
Sounds good to me.
But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Caleb McAllister for coming into the studio today. I also again want to thank Pat Barry for calling in from Vancouver the day of the fight from UFC 115. The fight of his life is in about 8 hours, so that was great for him to do that. I want to thank my co-host Charles and our producer Will Stafford. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are on Facebook, please look us up in the search engine box. Just put in Combat Sports Live. We'll pop up. Make sure you send a friend request, and you can listen to most of our shows right there on Facebook. We will see you next week on Combat Sports Live.